Influential climate scientist Michael Mann is Presidential Distinguished Professor at the University of Pennsylvania. He is also director of the Penn Center for Science, Sustainability, and the Media. And his most recent book, The New Climate War, is about the fossil fuel industry's effort to delay action on climate change. Professor Mann, thank you so much for joining us. Do you see public perception shifting on climate change? And if so, is action shifting?
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be with you. And I do see a shift in perception here. First of all, climate change is no longer the abstract problem that it once seemed to be. It's not about faraway places, the Arctic and polar bears. It's now about us. It's about extreme weather events, dangerous and damaging extreme weather events that are playing out in real time. And so people can now perceive the impacts of climate change. It makes it much more difficult for those who would seek to deny the science to do so. That having been said, it still doesn't rank high enough on our collective list of priorities, given that it is literally the greatest challenge that we face as a civilization.
You know, there is this political incentive and financial incentive for many to deny that humans are even contributing to the problem. So how do you push past that resistance?
Yeah, and that's sort of what I call the old climate war, was this effort by fossil fuel companies and those promoting their agenda, conservative news outlets, and conservative politicians. It was once about denying the reality of climate change, but they can't do that anymore because people can see that it's happening. That doesn't mean they've given up. They've shifted to other tactics, and that's really the thesis of the new climate war. Distraction, delay, deflection, anything that they can do to prevent us from moving on. So what people need to do is recognize those tactics, recognize the various subtle ways in which polluters are trying to disengage them, and be engaged, be out on the front lines. And the most important way that you can use your voice, of course, is with your vote. In just a matter of weeks, there's an opportunity for people to turn out in these midterm elections and vote on climate. Make sure that climate is one of the defining issues in this election.
And so, Professor Mann, on that note, we are in campaign season, and the climate issue is not getting a whole lot of attention, even by the candidates. So how do people expect to go out and vote on the issue if it should be so important to them when the candidates themselves aren't really even talking about it right now?
So there has been some discussion on the campaign trail. I've heard some of it, but not nearly as much as we would like to see. And I'll tell you, this issue is a #1 voting issue among young folks, among folks in their 20s and 30s, millennials. And so, you know, it's really it behooves Democrats to be making climate front and center. Of course, we've got other issues that we're struggling with right now. The crisis with our democracy. We've still got a health crisis in COVID-19 to deal with. There are all sorts of matters that often feel more pressing, more immediate. But let's recognize that when it comes to our health, when it comes to our national security, when it comes to every dimension of our lives, climate change is now becoming one of the great threat amplifiers.
Can you take politics out of this? Is there a way to find unity and move past the political strife on this issue?
Yeah, I think there is. It wasn't that long ago that there was bipartisan support, that there were a fairly large number of Republicans who recognized, the importance of preserving a livable planet. That's a conservative value, to conserve our environment, to conserve our planet. And unfortunately, fossil fuel interests have worked hard to drive a political wedge between, Democrats and Republicans. And so I think it's really important that we make sure that there is space to bring conservatives back into the fold. Moderate conservatives who were once very much on board when it comes to issues of basic sustainability and environmental health. I mean, let's not forget, Richard Nixon gave us the EPA. Ronald Reagan signed the Montreal Protocol. George H.W. Bush created cap and trade to deal with the acid rain problem. It wasn't that long ago that Republicans were in the fold. And maybe there's an opportunity when we get past this crisis that we're currently dealing with in our politics, this extreme polarization. Maybe there's a sort of silver lining there, that there might be an opportunity for a sort of reorganization of our politics that creates space in the middle for moderate conservatives to join progressives in this common challenge that we all face, the climate crisis.
Well, thank you so much. Michael Mann is Presidential Distinguished Professor at the University of Pennsylvania and Director of the Penn Center for Science, Sustainability, and the Media. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.